Everybody say hi.
I did a big bank of water. Really good.
That's so cute. Very good.
What? That's typically how I eat. Whenever Dad fell the other day, and I don't know if Dale was fell and stuff, but whenever all that was down, he comes home and he's the flowers, and he of course sleeps again. And I say to well, did you give me a drink? Well, he had that Pepsi.
Water.
Water.
How did he call me?
We don't really know.
Was he more or less?
He's down sulfur. Unfortunately, Ella and I are down there with him. So Michael was the reason why we were down there. And we've been doing some stuff around the lawnmower and had a puzzle digger and was hitting the blade, trying to straighten the blade out. And then Ella and I go, so finally decides he can't do it. So Ella and I go to leave and we come back around the side of Shiloh and we're coming back in this way. And Dad's supposed to be backing the trailer up so we can load it. And Ella says, why is Papa on the ground? Well, I don't initially react to that because he was just on the ground a few minutes ago after the lawnmower. But I look up there, Dad's laying face down on the ground. And so I pull back in there and he starts standing up really slow and he's got this weird blood all over his face. And he was, I think, disoriented. streaming from?
On YouTube?
No, I mean,
Oh, like
where
right
you
here.
got the camera?
Right here. This is the camera.
Wonderful. People sign the Mitchell saying they are family. They can sit by each other. Disclaimer. We found
Walmart's actually talking about leaving a lot of them. Well, that means we-
And they said they were talking about ones that have kids allowing them to continue to work from home because there's so much.
all the kids, I mean, she has to-
So can you see us on the screen?
Yes, you do. Well, you're really asking the wrong person.
With people, have a babysitter.
Here, I'll wait.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. I don't think I can see them. Yeah, I can't see Daniel.
Oh, it's just another one. That's hilarious.
I'll be your bear.
Yeah.
Heard of beauty, right? He's like, I like beauty.
So do we have to record this? Do we have to record this as well?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love it.
Do we have to record this? Like we have a recorder, even though we're doing this?
Is the live stream recorded?
That's a real button.
Ian, is the live stream recorded?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you know not this, the live stream recorded. You can start right
There or there?
or you can sit over there.
Y'all gonna put me and Jay together, that's gonna be fun. Make it
But
cool.
I did think I should pull this out.
Yeah, that's actually,
Okay.
hopefully there's no need. You get the
Yeah.
news so good.
That's just saying that.
There's another deal going through with them guys.
That's not gonna figure it out.
That we're working.
You say, oh my God.
All that stuff. You want what you showed me? Jerry said that's good. But, I mean, I do, we want some kind of assurance. We should know the day that he. So maybe what?
It's fine, it's fine. 2 days of being useless.
Outside.
All right.
We went a little easier today.
Good job.
Are we ready to Sears or?
I'm ready whenever.
Is Jay said he would be. All right, so I'll officially call, are you ready, Mr. Galloway? All right, call this meeting to order. We will stand to do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, Robin, is there any pictures? All right, now, thank you all that could be here tonight. And all of you at home watching on GHTV, thank you, Mr. Galloway, for being here to film it. Daniel, thank you for getting us all organized tonight. All right, we will jump right in. There is an amendment that needs to be made to the agenda for an executive session. All in favor of that? In favor of this? Consensus of the board? All right, so we'll add an executive session. All right, the consent agenda. I know there were a couple of updates to the minutes. Those were sent back out this afternoon. Anything else on the minutes? All right, then it's financial report. And it's good to see you in person too, Dennis. Please, thank you for doing all the Zoom or whatever we're doing meetings.
I've been trying to lay low, help everybody stay safe. Period 11, we're 92% through the school year. We're going to review the financial report for May 2020. Following the shaded cells, you can see that our full back payment was received. That was close to $3 million. It's nice to see this time of year. You can see restricted state funding. We have a few outstanding balances. A lot of those we received in 12. We've done a pretty good job of collecting all of these. 21st Century Grant, we discussed that, I think, the last meeting or two. That $72,745 is going to be it for this year. With the carryover already generated from this year and then last year, there's going to be some money left on the table that the state's going to get at the end of the day, at the end of year 5. Also, in the bottom left corner, you can see we have new fund 6780 for CARES Act funding. Our direction was to estimate or budget the revenue that we may receive this year for expenditures we've already incurred. To date, $23,073. That number is going up each day. So we will put the remainder of the $255,000 in CARES Act money in the next subsequent fiscal year, 2020-2021. Okay, flipping to page 2. See the two shaded cells, the operating fund. So Mr. Oliphant had brought this up last month. We're starting to see, the expenses ease up based on the closing of the school. The operating fund is at 85%. That is better than last year's 86%. And as we discussed last month, we also incurred all of our debt service, so we have no more debt service payments this year. For the operating cost centers, you can see that every area except technology, well, including technology, is at or below the 92%. But you can see that Gravette Uppers at 83, along with the middle school, the high school at 91, custodial, maintenance and grounds at 86, transportation 83. I think we're starting to realize the benefit of shutting the school down. Utility shows a similar result. You see year to date, we've expended 80% of our budgeted amount, versus 85% last year. You know, we had to heat the gym a little bit more. The construction timeline was moved up. I think we talked a little bit about this last month. So we had to run the heaters in there, and I know they had plastic up at some time. So that's pushed up our natural gas estimate a little bit. You see our electricity is now to 79%, and our water and sewer 59%. Overall, our utilities, we spent 80% of our original budgeted amount, and we're 92% for the year. That's a pretty good number. The summary at the bottom, where we strip out construction activity and bond cert.
Yeah, fiscal year 19 actual was 85%. Is that the overall?
Yes, sir, that's based on what we budgeted.
That'd be lower than every single individual.
For the fiscal year 19, the actual column, I think that may be based on the prior year budget amount. I can take a closer look at that.
Not a big deal, but see what I'm saying?
I do, but I'll take a closer look. I think I kind of put a total there to get a total percentage for utilities overall. But I'll double check that. If something changed on that, I'll shoot you guys the detail behind that. The summary without the bond construction activity, on the far right column here to date, you can see we're slightly above budget, 20,000. That shows that our current year expenditures are not spending, we're budgeting for to spend more than that. The column on the left, that would represent total revenues and total expenditures, so that 416,000 would come expenses like on student growth funds, revenues that were in prior periods in the current fiscal year. So we're on track for the current fiscal revenues. It's a balanced budget. So I think we're looking good. Feeling pretty optimistic about next month. Looking at the statement of assets, liabilities, and fund balances, you can see we have about 909,000 in bond monies left. A few more invoices from Crossline and Bill. We will be dipping into our own building fund money with that. And the detailed statement of changes in fund balances. We talked about some negatives in the activity funds. We've corrected all of those to date. We may still see a few in there. As we close the year, with the general fund money to soak up the expenditures for bonds, so that negative will go away as well as salaries. On the preparation for the fiscal close. You guys have any questions?
I mean, this is just a curious one. What, the class of 2020 even have the opportunity to decide what they want to do with their excess funds? Yeah, but I guess it probably did.
It happened, and part of those funds may be for graduation. So that could change.
What about 2019 that's still in here?
That could be designated.
What?
They could make a decision as far as spending.
Class of 2019?
Yes.
Is that a good done yet?
I don't know, it's not your business.
That 85% wasn't the total budget. If you just add it comes out. What we budgeted. We spent 85% of what we budgeted that year. I'm just saying.
Actually, our total can be less than every individual.
The 626, 107, and then you add the year to date, you're making balance. 85% of that budget for the year. Talking about 19 actual.
Yeah. Every individual utility line and they're all, the amount of spend compared to budget is all higher than 85. So the only total could be less than.
Yeah, but it is 85% the total. There's some screwball on that.
Yeah, I'll check that. If I can put a column in there, that's what I think budget, yeah. I think the key is that, Richard Carver and those guys do a great job shutting down utilities right after school. Save us. So, yeah, looking at the construction outlay summary through May. About furniture, fixtures, and equipment, we used to put a shot 12, which was less than 9 million square feet. Right now, we have $1 million budget for that. And so far, we're staying under budget with that. Us to come out with
Questions? Thank you, sir.
One last question, Dennis. On the revenues, property taxes, you're still expecting a good chunk. And we received it as $1 million. So I was real happy to see that. Okay, we are up. I won't give you a final guesstimate on the total, but I think we'll have very good news next month. Sleeping. It's a lot of ratings.
Thank you. Is there a superintendent report? Bond and financing.
Scott had asked me if he wanted to zoom in on this tonight, but I just said, unless you have, new information, I can handle it. As of today, we're 5 to 10 basis points below 30-year treasury, which is better when we first loaded putting the bonds out to bid. So if you recommend it's going to proceeding bid, which we had originally scheduled to begin that on July 8th. Sign the documents on July 20th. Close on that on July 30th. And shooting from the hip, I've slept since then. It was about $4.6 million savings. So I think it's looking pretty good on the bond issue. I'm assuming we receive the proceeds sometime in August, early September, perhaps.
How much, I mean, let's see. So what will the amount be
It's around 4.6 million.
that we'll get in August?
Right. He's bidding 3 of those out of July 8th. I'm not sure. I think where the other issues are going to be bid. I assume they'd be in a close range of that initial bid. He sent me new updates, but he didn't have a total. I just scanned them and added them up. It looked like the savings approximately about 4.6, 4.7 million. On that.
We don't need to take any action on that tonight.
It's just an update. I'll forward those new documents he sent to you guys tomorrow. Okay. Of course, that's subject to change with ratings and quantity.
Ready for facilities? Give me a list for you. Okay.
sent out a video, I'm not sure if everybody saw that, but,
It's pretty touchy.
There's no sound connected to the laptop. We didn't do that.
well, I mean, it's not coming up anyway. I mean, it's coming up here, but not up there.
That's playing here.
That's Daniel thing, not me.
Yeah.
We don't need the music. Jody can just hum a few bars while it's going.
Is there music and is there any?
There is, but it's awesome too, but it's okay.
Only I have my lip.
Robert, why did they do that? I think you told us this before. Why did they do that sort of routine wall instead of the regular road? So much earlier than the rest of the parking lot stuff.
Well, there's a storm structure right at the end of it that is real close to that footing, so they went ahead and put all that in while they did that structure, so it kind of sat up in the air for a while. Just think I only get to do this to you one more time.
The sound's on me, guys. It's not on you.
I'm gonna play it.
Is it playing through your computer?
Not yet, no, yeah.
All right, so this is on 9/29, obviously today's the 15th, so there's been some progress out in the parking lot. We've got some curb down now. The metal panels have actually started on the exterior of the building. There's some curb. You can see some metal panels right there. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it's kind of in the middle of the building. They're kind of black. If you pass by, you'll see them when you drive by, but the front's starting to take shape. We had quite a bit of rain the last 2 months, and it's kind of slowed us down on the outside, but we're starting to make some good progress with some good weather. There's the metal panels. They've got kind of a film on them in this picture, but the film is off of them if you don't drive by. This is inside. You'll see that the telescopic bleachers are almost complete. They're just putting the final touches on. You can see those orange chair backs there. Still waiting on the fixed seating. That's not going to be delivered till the third week of July. As we told y'all last time, they had some issues with COVID in their factory in Michigan, but third week of July, we'll get those in. Hopefully by the end of July, we're out of here. Next slide, you can see the weight room. That turned out really good, I think. Really cool feature there, I think. There's your stairs. Those stairs have a porcelain tile on them now. All the stainless steel's done. Just got to clean those up. They're ready to go. This is that light feature. It's also the hardwood floor, same material in that box on the bulkhead there, which is pretty cool. And then it gets
EBC logo,
Yeah.
line logo, similar to the one on the reception area.
And this I just want to show you. We had a total of 167 rain days on this job. 71 of those were claimable, like I could have asked for more time. We haven't asked for any more time. I just wanted you guys to be aware. I know that, we were hoping to wrap things up this month, but we had some weather and then also a delay on the inside with the trophy case, and then our telescopic bleachers came in later than we thought. But I just wanted you guys to get a perspective of how many days we could have claimed contractually versus not claiming any. I think our contractual day is the 11th of July, but we hope to be final cleaning and just doing punch at that point. So just to let y'all know. And this is that spreadsheet we've been working on, tracking all the costs since inception. There's 3 items that are pending there that are red. We've got down at the very bottom, you've got $37,620 in contingency. You'll see those 3 items. One of them is rock. We went, told you guys a couple of meetings ago, we ran into rock on the utilities. At that time, we estimated the total to be $104,000. You guys approved 49 of that because that's all I'd been given by the sub at that point. We got the final reports in. The total on the rock came in at $94,308, so less than we estimated, but still it's significant, which would be an increase to the job cost by $46,080. Obviously, $46,000 $80 is more than $37,620. So we're actually gonna go over our contract amount. If you add that, the next one in red is the cost for the trophy case. That's $47.63, I believe. And then there was an ad for the recent change, which was adding some light fixtures and changing up the trophy cases minorly. But that was another $965. Let's see. Can't really see it. I can't say that, I'm sorry, my eyes, I'm 50, I can't do this. But, so that, if you add those three items together, it's gonna bring us to $17,113 over our contract amount. So, all in all, you guys got a great facility, we had a bunch of contingency, you guys were able to use it for, the volleyball gym and all this stuff that came up, but all in all, I think it was a great project. I don't see any other changes. Are you aware of anything else out there? So, just to let you know, that's where things came out financially. I'm still closing out a couple of allowances. You'll see on there, there's some credits. I know Tracy asked about the Black Hills Energy allowance early on. You remember that? And that whole $5,000 is on there as a credit. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. And there's also reconciliation of the building permit allowance. There's what, $62 or $5,200 there that's being returned. And then there was a credit for unused Carroll Electric service fee, another $5,113. There's a couple other allowances that we're closing out right now. Hopefully that 17,000 comes down. That's my goal, is to hopefully get that out of there. But we're really close. And I have copies of the rock excavation, if anybody would like to look through it. We're doing handouts anymore. I can email this to you guys or whatever you want to do.
You already have it.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. So there's a copy of that.
I got one thing while he's handing those out, the plaque location for the building plaque. He and Richard talked about it. I think a good location is right when you walk in the vestibule up to the right on that wall. The wall kind of facing the elevator. Everybody sees it around they walk in. That'd be my recommendation. You put it in the lobby somewhere too, but I think we get more visibility on it. Kind of right there in the vestibule. Thoughts?
I like it.
Everybody's pretty
Yeah.
much what they like it.
Love it?
Yeah.
We have some orange window tint that's gonna be right there by the monumental stair. Arkansas sign and banners, put up a mock-up of different oranges they recommended. There's like 10 of them, but we need somebody to go look at it and make a decision on which one we want to pick. They want to get that going pretty fast, but that feature glass wall next to the monumental stairs. That's huge. So, whoever wants to go, take a look. Maybe after this meeting, I'll go take a look. So,
How is the sun as far as coming in for court and stuff and issues?
I have no say.
Just been in that time of the day.
Huh?
I hadn't been in this time of the day.
That orange tent
You got all night on.
eats out that sun on that stair glass, and we've got shades everywhere else, so I think it'll be minimal.
Any questions?
Thank
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Sarah, you want to lead us through those action items?
Yes, and so the COVID emergency resolution was in your board packet. That is something that, regardless of how we open in the fall, so even if we get to open in August, like regular school year, we have to have this in place, and submitted to, I think the date, September 1st. We have to have it submitted, and turned in, and so it's there for you. I don't know if there's any questions on that or anything that you would talk about. I know Childress has worked on that quite a bit and can help answer some of those questions.
So are we talking, the question, is it this?
No, it's the
Oh, I'm
resolution.
sorry,
Just the resolution.
Yeah, just the resolution.
Okay, sorry, the resolution. I was talking about the reopening plan.
So that's the same for every district.
The resolution, yes, it's the same for every district. Sorry, I was talking about the reopening plan. I think I have that, sitting, it was listed on your table
Right.
to sign,
So it needs to be adopted.
yes. Needs to be approved.
The resolution,
Yes.
so moved.
Not the reopening plan, sorry, that was my fault.
All right. There's a first by Tracy, and a second by Jay to adopt the resolution. Any debate?
I have a question, and I don't know if you know the answer to it. So on number 2 on that back page, it says, all board policies and administrative procedures may be suspended in whole or in part to the extent that any policy or procedure the district conflicts with the new state and federal laws. And all that's done by federal government, Governor Hutchinson, or state agency, right, in relation to the COVID. So basically, if they decide they want to do something, all of our stuff goes away, right?
That is my understanding of it.
Yes. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay.
The next one, the approval of the student handbook. So I will tell you, Mrs. Duke had some great questions that she emailed me before the board meeting. This was something that we changed. It looks a little bit different than what you've seen previously. Previously, the buildings have had their own handbooks, and all of those policies have been in every handbook. So when we started talking with building principals about that, the cost to print all of those was extravagant, and so we're about $10,000 for the district to print all those and give those to parents. So we condensed that and made one district policy book, which has all the policies that were the same. I put on your table a colored sheet, and these are the things that have to be in the handbook according to AP. So we put those in there, but I will say Mrs. Duke had some great questions and some things that we probably need to talk about. So I don't know, not necessarily something that you maybe want to adopt tonight. I think there's some things that we need to address, but just wanted you to look it over and see if what questions that you had on that, what corrections need to be made, and then also we talked about not printing those for every student and sending them home, and just printing the, I've looked at it online and read it. We'll make hard copies available, so if a parent wants that, but just if the parents have gone online and they've read it and they have a link to where they can link to it and find it easily and sign off that they've read it and understand those policies. And then each building will have their own parent welcome packet that will be more detailed about what happens in their building, like their start times, their schedules, discipline, consequences, those kind of things would be by individual building. Questions that I can answer right now? Or are we okay with kind of moving forward with that plan, and then I will address Hope's questions?
Do you want to share them with them? I mean, as far as like later, when
Yes,
you do that?
yes.
As far as, they're mostly just some of the things that we've discussed about over the years, like, for example, just things that, like the Tylenol falling under the drug thing. So is that something, I just like to ask, should that be pulled out separately? How do you address that? Because the way it reads and the way like I told my kid is, you better not be caught with Tylenol because that's gonna fall underneath drugs. And, then it sets a set of things in action. And so I just asked her about that. Is that something that we need to relook at? Is it fine? Because obviously the board has discretion on things when it comes to expulsions and things like that. But I mean, I think we all know there's plenty of kids that have a Tylenol or ibuprofen or something like that carrying to their school. And then I also asked questions. There was just some other little questions like that that I had asked her, which she can send out an email or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's
Nothing big.
and some of our more, like the board policies where we would actually have to go in and change the board policy, or like in that one specifically, it does say at your discretion. So you do have the discretion to, when you have a situation like that come up, that the administrator or the board has that discretion to make a different decision. But some of them are things that I think we probably need to talk about, and just different things that maybe I need to talk to building principals to see how those policies are actually implemented, and then maybe come back to you and say, okay, this is what we need to change and look at that.
There were a few things I just asked, are we doing that? Because
Right.
I wasn't even familiar with it, which doesn't mean that we aren't doing it. It just was, are we doing that?
Right.
How are we doing it if we are?
And I pretty much just copy and pasted the board policies that went along with the ADE requirements, and so there may be some things that we need to look at. Like, these are great questions. So I'll share those out and then share responses to those of you who are okay with that.
I thought it was easy to read. I mean, as far as when I was reading through it, for the most part, I thought it was easy to read, which I think is always helpful.
And there may be some, honestly, like in the future, I would like to condense it a little bit more and make it more parent friendly, make it a little bit more parent friendly. But to get it in the board packet in time, I needed to do it pretty quickly. So possibly next year, we look at maybe even condensing it, making it a little bit more parent friendly. But Ms. Childress' letter at the beginning was very welcoming to parents, and so it's kind of a different change of going to one district policy and focus as opposed to each building having their own, copying the same policy for every building.
So is there a consensus just to let her move forward on that? Not approve anything tonight?
And do we look at do we look at those individual things as well, but like the more specific, building specific policies or whatever procedures, do we look at that as well? Because I mean, in the past, it's all been one big thing that we've gotten together and looked at. If you pull this out, you said this policy, but do we have to look at those other ones or do we not?
You don't have to. This is the one that you would have to approve because it's the district one, and it has all the requirements in it. So you wouldn't have to approve the building ones, but I think, when they're gonna present the building ones in July, I think you're gonna have access to look at those and to view those in July, but they would have to be board approved.
And if that were the discipline is had, like the procedures are done on that in those books?
So that'll be more of like their individual building procedures, and you would have things like, drop off and pick up, then visitors to the building and how they check in and start times, and how they do their PBIS matrices, those would be specific to each building, those items.
But the actual breaking of one of these policies, say the vape, is that something that's consistent across the buildings, or is that something that the beach building decides upon? Is that something the board comes from, goes down from their policy?
From the board policies on situations like
So
that.
it'll just basically copy and paste for each of these different buildings what those policies were.
Like there was one, like, it was about driving to school and students driving on campus. Like Glen Duffy wouldn't really need that in their policy handbook, so there were things like that. But I mean, there may be some second graders, I don't know. Then the approval of the athletic handbooks, were there any questions about that? I know Norman is here.
Was there anything different in those from last year?
They had the word vaping, sort of said, back on. And there were some changes in professional protocol. That's to us from the state. Input on it. That's how I change. On the handbooks.
For athletic eligibility. It mentions that the athlete has to have passing grade in categories or courses.
That's part of the rule. It requires, you gotta have 2.0 in for those classes have to be active. That you added that, it's, they're all active courses. It's straight out, that's pretty good. Well, the high school is straight out of their book. Junior high, we follow the same thing as high school. We don't have to buy. Their standards are different. Our standards are higher than the AAA standards as far as junior high.
And a special request on it with the line. You introduce.
I would not suggest that for the parent would be more than welcome to come down. All that, grandparents, either way. I've seen that, I've seen it.
So it's the recommendation that the board approve the athletic handbook. Tracy made the motion, Jody seconded that. Any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those say nay. 7-0. The manual.
So after talking with Dennis, looking over it, with the options that we had, especially with not knowing what next year was going to look like, the recommendation for going one-to-one with the Chromebooks, for 514 Chromebooks, with a total of $162,758.72 over a 4-year lease agreement. Made more sense than purchasing them outright. Now in that too, we would look at replacing the iPads that are going to be with Duffy. I think that's the best move going forward. We've had issues with them with the management system, and if we have to send the kids home again for whatever comes, we don't really have a content filtration system that we right now can put on those iPads. And so I don't want to feel comfortable sending the kids home without any type of content filtration or any type of babysitting that we would put on to make sure that they'll do what they need to. But that's where that number comes from. Any questions?
So we want to buy them, not lease them.
Lease them, not buy them.
But
A year.
a lease purchase like the other two we signed.
Yeah.
After the 4 years, it would be a $1 buyout for every device we own. The same one that we're doing for Chromebooks in high school.
So you're looking into getting Chromebooks for the kindergarten, but not necessarily?
That lease agreement, the 514 would get us completely one-to-one in the district across all campuses, K through 12.
Do you anticipate that if we have to do virtual again, that you would send the Chromebooks, the kindergartners would use Chromebooks?
Absolutely. They were very well with them, actually way better than I expected when we got them back and sent them home, because we sent quite a few home even with kindergarten kids, K through 2. The amount of breaks that we had was far less than what I thought it was going to be.
Oh, I'm not talking about the break side, I was talking about the
Yes.
academic side
Of course.
of that. I mean,
Sorry, that's my.
no, you're good. I got you. I was so like, I'm surprised you're so gung ho, like, yes, they are. Do you anticipate the academic side of it? That's what we would be using with the kindergarten as well?
We would, so that they could access, even like Zooms with their teachers. And it would look different, of course, that with kindergarten, first grade, with those young ones, than it would, as you move up and move into the older grades. But they would need them to access Zoom, or we could send out, there's all kinds of great apps and different things that the students use and they're used to using in the classroom. So that they would be able to access that. And our teachers are also great about explaining to parents how to access that and how to use those devices.
Those are also going to be touch screen for K through 2, all the new ones that we get in as well. That way they can replace that iPad if we have anything for idea, whatever that we need for IEP. You can go ahead and have that touch screen capability for anything to really replace that unit home.
So we can keep words in front of them earlier.
Those, even at even at K1, they can handle those Chromebooks pretty well. And I mean, if they're going to be testing on them anyway, I'd rather them test on the unit they're going to, especially getting into second grade, third grade, more familiar.
Well, I hope we don't have to use them at all for that. No. Yeah.
It's part of your long-term budget.
This will be coming out of CARES Act funds.
The motion we accept.
Second.
Second.
Trying to get,
Jody,
not able to help.
you
Sorry.
said proceed with leasing the 514 Chromebooks. Hope second. Any questions?
We already have insurance that reimburses CARES Act, but
Debbie's
It's a
question.
High probability of that.
When we completed some of the forms for the CARES Act funds, that was one of the boxes that we checked on there, so we were purchasing technology with it. So it gets a high percentage that it would get approved. If not, looking at the budget, we're confident that we can cover that expense each year. It didn't, but our plan is to do that through the COVID funds.
Especially with the kind of emphasis on technology with a lot of this CARES Act funding. Anyway, I can't see that getting denied, but it's not 100% public.
from the guidance on that, lease purchase qualifies.
Next question. I just gave the certificate. They have a question for you, Dennis.
A lease purchase qualifies as best we can tell for the technology acquisition of online learning qualifies. There's nothing that says a lease purchase agreement qualifies. There's nothing that says it doesn't. However, kind of a step ahead of that, if that were the case, we did have CARES Act money towards that. I would be surprised.
Other questions? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, the last thing to action to be considered was, there was a motion table for renaming. Ready to entertain a motion?
Make a motion that we, do a really, really knock-out job on a big old flag that has pictures, the bill, maybe even I don't know, just a knock-out job on a big flag in the entryway of the Career Center.
I'll second that. All right, so there's a motion on the floor from Tracy to do a nice flag
Display.
display.
Yeah, I mean, naming, I mean, pictures of, I'm sure there's pictures of him in his house.
Probably similar to what you're talking about with the host, with Angie. 'Cause
Yeah.
She has all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. So, presentation and display in the hall of the Western Benton County Career Center.
In the foyer with
In
the
the
wall.
foyer. In the foyer where you walk in to recognize Dr. Page and the work that he's done. Any questions, thoughts?
I think that's the second best idea, but in the interest of unity as inspired by Katrina Smith. Jeff Strong. Just recognition for somebody doing something really unique was deserving.
Any other thoughts before we vote?
Hoping that will continue to inspire people to take initiative like that. Some of that.
I agree, Dr. Page did, and I think this is a great recognition that we'll move on in the hallway. All right, any other thoughts? Anyone else want to speak before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, Motion passed 7-0. At this point, we will move to an executive session.
I have a question about this,
Okay, before we go
which I know
into-
that's not on the agenda, so
Right.
I'm just curious, is this like moving forward as far as this timeline on the reopening thing, the reopening,
Yes.
sorry.
So this was a draft that we worked on, Shoulders Night, met with building principals, brainstormed, came up with ideas, talked about what that would look like. And so we have to have a plan in place. This is what I was talking about earlier when I got all confused.
Right.
But we have to have a plan in place regardless of if we open as normal in August. We have to have a plan in place. I think Aggie Pfeffer's terms was intended quickly of what we would do in response to COVID. If it comes back and we see those numbers increasing and we get shut down, have to go virtual, or what we would do. So this is the start of that plan. I believe the next piece is we're going to have a Ready to Learn task force that we have parents, community members, some medical personnel that can be a part of those conversations and look this over through different lenses and give us feedback and continually work to improve this plan before it requires approval.
So do you need any approval of this?
No.
I think
There's
we
like,
just share, I think we
there's
just
like
share
three
for,
different, what, you know,
for feedback.
3 different plans in there, right?
There's several different options in there.
Yes, the state is requiring those different plans. The state has said that schools, the districts have to have a plan for returning as normal. That districts have to have a plan for, like they said, pivoting quickly should, a whole grade level need to go home, or just an individual student need to go home for 14 days. And that districts have a complete virtual option for families that aren't comfortable returning. And so every district has to have all 3 plans for their patrons.
So do we plan on it? I think we have a tentative plan session.
Yeah, we have a planning session, but within the packet, there's a timeline here.
We don't even have to act on that.
We don't have a plan.
That's just name here.
And since you got that draft, there have been 3 different webinars from the state, and every time there's a webinar, they add different layers or different documents for, like when the governor went to phase 2, it changed all of the numbers went from 1/3 capacity to 2/3 capacity. So every time there's one of those meetings or one of your announcements, it changes all of the guidelines across the board. So I haven't given you any of the changes so that you wouldn't be confused prior to tonight. But now I'll go back and I'll do some strikeouts and I'll do some additions in a different color so you can see how it's changed over the last 10 days.
And I think what our patrons, our stakeholders want to know is when this is going to be communicated, and if we're looking at this plan within the next few days.
For sure, and if you need to wait, or if you want to wait until the July 2nd board work session for us to say, yes, we're ready and comfortable to say this to parents, then I think that we, can do that, no problem. I think one of the biggest debates is going to be requiring face masks versus not requiring face masks. And I just think that that's, some of those things I think are going to be a conversation that we'll want to have before we put out guidelines.
So is our approach going to be, here's our right plan, we're looking for input? Or
Yes, that's the purpose of the
here's
task.
our plan, black and white?
The purpose, the purpose of the task force, kind of like community focus meetings over the next few weeks, are to get input and kind of take the poll. But then when we share our plan with the public, with the patrons, we put it out and this is our plan for the school year.
So how soon and how do we expect that nominees are determined and members of
We're open to suggestions on that. Will they do having school counselors, having our nurses involved, having school personnel, but also having parents and community members involved is really really important. So if you have suggestions and you wanna email those to us, we would appreciate that.
And we can also make it open to, if the principals want to post something on their Facebook, you know, as a parent, if you want to have your voice heard, you know, here's a virtual meeting you can join, or if you prefer face-to-face, you know, so that we can invite some people, if we know there's some people in particular that we think it would be great to have their voice, but I think we should also make it open to those that would just like to be a part of the conversation. And we can start that this week.
My thought would be, make the task force too large, because then it would be unwieldy. That then bills is too large, so that it's unwieldy. But to encourage feedback, input, and participation in some of these sessions, but not have a massive task force that's going to be an administrative challenge.
Small group sessions. Also, I was wondering, actually, several people asked me, how's graduation? Will we have a board meeting before graduation? I guess we'll have a work session before that. Yeah, still kind of waiting and seeing, figuring it out. I mean, everyone's just basically going, no, please, or we still don't have it.
The guidance that came down last week, have to follow the current Department of Health guidelines, which right now we're in. You can't have more than 2/3 capacity, but you have to maintain social distancing. So we went out to the football field last week and measured, depending on the size of the family group, we're looking at 6 tickets a student. Unless we do a survey and find out how big a family group or a household group is.
Unless we get people posted to mass,
I have to submit my plan for, and in doing so, it will follow the required guidelines to have this group so we can hold graduation.
So it's probably not anticipated we're gonna do that at phase 2 before, is it? Is this a phase 3? Is that like completely open? Yeah, I know, right? Everyone's going, who knows?
One of the interesting things we looked down there was phase 2, or how many people we could put in there. Phase 1 was the same as phase 2. We could get about 33% of the capacity in the stadium doing social distancing. So if they, as long as they say social distancing, we're going to be looking at 850 people.
And your graduates, since we're on the outdoor area, do not count in that 66%, because they'll be separate from the audience.
And with the mask, they would not be required in there?
Masks are required for everybody in attendance except children under the age of 10. Students can take their masks off for photo opportunities or basically when they receive their diploma, but everybody else will have to have a mask on. And we have to have the sanitizing stations at every end.
One of the things that's kind of unique is the guidelines that the Department of Health puts out are not the same guidelines that you see distributed to at the press conferences.
I've heard similar comments from other.
Ours are more restricted, the schools are more restricted than what the general public has. But it's just the Wild West show.
Right.
It's going.
So you're saying that even outside, everybody wears masks, correct?
Correct. Thank you.
And that's because that's zeroed in on schools?
That's the current Department of Health guidelines for outdoor, large outdoor venues.
Everybody didn't say this was the CDC that did that.
I think it is the CDC that has said masks 10.
I'm just curious, special about these end result.
I think that 10 and under don't carry the, they don't carry it the same way as an adult does. Is there a reasoning behind that?
Maybe they know they can't.
Well, that's probably right.
Of course, good luck keeping them on. Anything else?
Yeah, don't we have to figure out if we're going with the RN or LPN? talked about it last meeting,
And postponed it.
for this meeting, so I shouldn't.
There's some information that maybe we need to discuss in executive in regards to that.
Not whether we're gonna do it or in
And, in that one.
Do you know the deal about that? What's your opinion?
For liability purposes, we need to go with the RN. And LPN cannot do student health plans. And LPN has to be supervised by an RN, so one of our other nurses would have to be willing to supervise that person. And if the LPN happened to make a medication error or mistake, it's the RN that would be sanctioned because the LPN is working under them, and so that's a lot to ask for someone.
So I'm gonna go with our.
All right, so we have on the floor a motion from Tracy and seconded by Hope to hire RN instead of an LPN. Any other discussion?
I thought it was a good idea to go.
Well,
Correct the first, that's a great idea.
which are in. They're not gonna say, here, you put me,
Nope, so when their license, that's
like, stay here.
To me, it's an added position. I would think that could be a combination.
They like to stay here, and it's real, it wants it. And the one that doesn't, you know,
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes.
Motion passed 6-1. Jay opposing. And then we move into executive, and then there's some personnel that information on the other. All right.
Where are we going?
Oh, we are going to the office, to the conference room. We need space out there. All the floors are being waxed. It's 7:08, Robin.
Yeah,
Also that Jay arrived at 6:07.
I got that too.
And Jay and Robin, your signatures need to be on this resolution. Hey, Ms. Sears, Jay doesn't have the printout of reopening.
Okay.
And so he.
I just had one.
I'm gonna give this to you. This is that. Presentation.
Okay, yes. Do you need to?
Yeah, that would
And
be.
then I can leave and we can do it.
Yep. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Oh, so you're picking that up.
They said they wanted it in there.
Huh?
Oh, the screen?
Yeah, I'll do that. I can do it. You want me to do it? What do you got? You got something going?
It'll take a second while I'm getting this together. They want this inside their
Oh,
meeting.
all right, Dean. You want me to do anything? Anything I can do to help?
Go up and turn those lights off. I don't know who did. Do you keep? Is it you that's turning them on?
Well, Well, so what happened was, is one day we had a fire